Hello everyone, so picking off where we last were, I obviously had to do the naval hard. I like to call it Titan hard because that's the name of the boss beast thingy. Anyways, so now we can continue on with the main scenario quest. And Moenbryda is considering which of her many responsibilities demands her utmost attention. I am most eager to address the Ascian threat. However, we dare not neglect our other pressing concerns. We both know full well that Saint Shiva will not be the last primal we face, and our relationship with Ishgard is still tenuous at best. To think that the resolution of the primal threat was once the sole priority of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Some days I wonder if it was wise for us to take on so many other responsibilities. Lest you forget, Antecedent, the Scions need not shoulder the burden alone. Were not the Crystal Braves established for this very reason? Sure, we are presented with a multitude of problems, however, we have all the resources we need to address them in turn. Celebrian, in particular, is ever a steady hand who I trust will continue to support the Braves. To what do we owe the pleasure? Have there been further developments regarding the situation in Ul'dah? As expected, the Immortal Flames have been struggling to cope with the revelation that one of their highest-ranking officers was a Garlean spy, or Garlean agent. Suffice it to say, Telegiatalelgi and his monetarist ilk have wasted no time in attempting to turn the situation to their advantage. Coupled with ongoing unrest, the Flames are finding themselves hard-pressed. Plainly, General Robon needs our help, and I will direct the Crystal Braves to offer what support they can. If I am to stay abreast of the latest developments and issue effective orders, however, I cannot afford to waste time traveling back and forth. And so, for the foreseeable future, I think it would be best if I were to remain in Ul'dah, unless you have an objection? None whatsoever. We have matters here well in hand. Moenbryda's research is proceeding as planned? So she tells me, though I'm not familiar with the details. Riol is poring over his tomes at the Waking Sand, and the others are contributing in their own ways. Alas, the key problem, how to form an ethereal blade at will, remains unsolved. Nevertheless, it is only a matter of time. Celebrian, while we focus on that task, mayhap you could assist Alphino and his braves with theirs? It would do much to restore faith in the Immortal Flames if the Warrior of Light was seen working on their behalf. Never forget that your esteemed status allows you to act in ways that those more tightly bound to organizations and nations cannot. As ever, I implore you to do so. Not that your response was ever in doubt, but I humbly thank you once more for aiding our cause. No problemo. Now then, there are preparations I must attend to before my departure, such as receiving Riol's latest report. He has proven to be quite skilled at gathering information others wish kept secret, hence why I placed him under my direct command and ordered him to investigate the Ul'dah riots. When you are finished here, join me outside. Depending on what he has to say, I may soon have a favor to ask. If there are any developments on our front, I shall inform you at once in the usual fashion. And so we need to speak with Riol. Moenbryda. While we focus on resolving the Ascian threat, pray devote your energies to assisting Alphino and the Crystal Braves. And so, exiting the solar. Tataru. Hello, Celebrian. Are you sleeping well? You must be absolutely exhausted from saving the realm on a daily basis. Yeah, you guys are hopeless without me. And my friends. Damn. Ever since Moenbryda arrived, the Rising Stones has been buzzing with excited energy. I must admit, her enthusiasm is rather contagious. Giri. I am unfamiliar with the dishes of the lands to the north. Perhaps once Moenbryda has concluded her current research, she might deign to share with me her culinary knowledge. Ishtola. When the City of Learning was abandoned, a great many tomes were scattered and lost. How smoothly our research might proceed when were we able to peruse the archives of yesteryear. Epilamo. Moenbryda has charged us with acquiring some rather esoteric manuscripts. I have no idea what that word is, but I'm afraid the task is proving to be nigh impossible. Well, if anybody can do it, it'd be you two. Ingrid. When one is in need of precious commodities, it helps to have friends in the right places. Fortunately, I'm well acquainted with the charming daughter of a successful Uldan import merchant. Ida. We needed a rare ore to modify the white auracite, and Thancred solved the problem using only his link pearl. I mean, it's great and everything, but where's the fun in that? Larry Boulder. We were but stripling adventurers the night we saw a fire rain from the sky and a pillar of light scorch the heavens. What a sight that was, eh, Coltonet? Rory and I were in eastern Thanalan when the Colossus shards of Dalamud pierced the ground. We stood witness to the subsequent explosion of Aether, and watched dumbfounded as the swirling energy solidified into those twisted crystal structures that we now know so well. Moenbryda. These two have been telling me stories about the corrupted crystal formations that appeared following the calamity. I'll need more data before I can draw a conclusion, but I'm intrigued by the potential of their untapped energies. And I think that's everybody. Oh, I guess except for Alphino. Is everything in order, Celebrin? Are you ready to attend us? Riol. Pleasure as always, Celebrin. You'll be escorting the commander to Ulda, I take it? Actually, I had another task in mind for her. If you would be so kind as to repeat your report for her benefit? Right then. Me and mine have been making inquiries into the source of the weapons that found their ways into the refugee hands a ways back. So happens we caught wind of something promising, a rather large purchase of sharp and pointy things by a black marketeer holed up near Highbridge. I doubt that this man would have secured such quantity of weapons if he did not already have clients waiting. Clients that, for whatever reason, would prefer that for this transaction to remain secret. Brings to mind that merchant that what caught an arrow while talking to Celebrin, don't it? During a spell he was doling out swords and spears to the downtrodden and disgruntled. Well, which isn't to say that these clients have the same mischief in mind. But if you want to be sure, it might be prudent to intervene before they collect their goods, savvy? Seizing the weapons before they fall into the wrong hands would be for the best. However we strike at the appointed hour, we might capture the Black Marketeer as well as his clients. What say you, Celebrin? Then it's settled. Rendezvous with Captain Ilberd at Highbridge and intervene when the exchange takes place. Now then, if you'd excuse me, I must leave for Ulda. I expect good tidings. Well, that doesn't raise some flags at all. Riol. Don't keep Captain Ilberd waiting for you too long, lass. He might have to start without you. So, we're gonna head over there. And by there... Okie dokie, so... Bye-bye, hee Butteroo. Ilberd. Ah, Celebrin. My scouts have been keeping a close eye on the Black Marketeer, and it would seem that his guests have arrived. It would also seem that he has hired more than a few men to stand guard. Common thugs of no consequence, but they nevertheless pose a threat. Even so, I feel compelled to apologize. This is far beneath a woman of your standing. Commander Louvier needn't have dispatched you hither. But powerful men ever have need of loyal, able-bodied friends. Having found one in you, 'tis only natural he would come to rely upon you without hesitation. Ilberd. Ilberd is eager to bring the Black Marketeer and his clients to justice. Now then, we should make for the Burning Wall without delay and secure those weapons. The first unit will ensure that the clients do not escape. With me, Celebrin. So, we need to head over that way. Ilberd. I spy the one man, but there are sure to be others. I have a plan. Will you approach the sentry and create a distraction? Amanda and I will slip past and catch the Black Marketeer unawares. Once you've disposed of the thugs, wait for us outside the tunnel entrance. Any questions? Then let us be off. Good luck, my friend. So, apparently there's a hired thug there. And we'll take the ever-awesome shortcut of just following. And by following, I mean just stepping off. Hired thug. Who goes there? An adventurer? Darn fool, you should have never come here. Well, I wouldn't have known anything was up until you said something, so who's the fool now? Ah. Well, that's that. And now we must head over there, where the little red dot is. And by dot, I mean area. Over there, where the destination marker is. This sparkle sparkle destination. Waiting. I don't understand. What's this all about? Grah! That was interesting. As you can see, this is a fine mess. When I tried to restrain him, he drew a hidden blade and lashed out. Before I could disarm him, one of my subordinates panicked, and this is the result. How foolish of me to underestimate the jerk and to bring on an inexperienced recruit. Commander Olivier will be most disappointed. Darn it all, a golden opportunity wasted. That doesn't seem right. As for the clients, though we know not how, they slip past our perimeter. At present, the first is currently tracking a party of Duskwight sellswords, sellswords we suspect may be them. With that, we could have enlisted the aid of the Immortal Flames or the Brass Blades. Alas, we're here to aid them. They're in no position to aid us. Well, at the very least, we have secured the weapons, yet even that accomplishment is lacking. For the information we received indicated a massive shipment, and this is anything but. Something doesn't smell right. And it isn't the dead guy. Ilberd. Ilberd would like nothing more than to have this incident forgotten. I will join the first in their hunt for the Duskwight sellswords. If the gods are good, we will catch them before they escape into the Black Shroud. In the meantime, I ask that you deliver these weapons to Ulda in my stead. Entrust them to the third Yu Hase. He will take care of the rest. And so we need to deliver these to Yu Hase in Ulda. So we need to head just over there. Apparently, right over here. Ilberd. Did you hear, my friend? I've received my first official assignment as a full-fledged member of the Crystal Blades. The Braves. Blades. Eileen. Why, Celebrian, this is a surprise. Resh wished for me to thank you for helping us to rescue her from Castrum Sentry. How fortunate that we would meet again so soon. Yu Hase. Ah, the warrior of light, ever reliable friend to the Crystal Braves. You have my deepest thanks for your assistance in Coarthus. Now, what brings you to us this day? Confiscated crate, a wooden box filled with contraband. The gift of weapons from a certain black marketeer. Courtesy of Captain Ilbrid, you say? Understood. Once we've catalogued the contents, I'll have them delivered to the Hall of Flames. This cannot be everything, can it? Riol stated with confidence that there would be far greater quantity of weapons. Blatant falsehood. Clearly Riol is unfamiliar with the ways of Ul'dahn merchants, who ever strive to present themselves as greater than they are. We should be thankful that his information was not completely erroneous, and that we managed to achieve anything of worth at all. It is still something worth celebrating, isn't it, Lieutenant? Besides, we've got more important things to worry about, like fighting those Garleans up north. There'll be no fighting if I have anything to say about it. Our orders are to stand watch, not to seek glory in battle. If you have no further need of us, then I shall take my unit to the cerulean processing plant. Time for the fourth to earn their keep, eh? Fight well, Ilian. Or Aline, whatever. For the freedom of all. Yeah, the chances that Riol is wrong is probably not right. Excellent work as always, my friend. Rest assured that the important flames will hear of your contribution. Until we meet again. Celebrian, a word of you, if it please ye. Not here. Look for me at Sapphire Avenue Exchange. No need for whistling this time. Don't you worry. And so, we need to head over there. Riol. Thanks for indulging me request. Few places better than a market for privacy, I find. All the hustle and the bustle of commerce means more conversations go unnoticed. I'll get to the point. At the Burning Wall, when you and the captain interrupted the exchange, what happened? Tell me everything. Leave no detail out. That's not quite how the first told it. These Duskwights they were chasing. Latest word is that we lost the trail. But you never saw them yourself. Not before the fighting started and not after. Something ain't right. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it in me bones. I'm not daft enough to be misled by some merchant's drunken boasts. Our information was reliable, darn it. I know he purchased those weapons. As if I've never deciphered a moneylender's books, or had to follow a transaction back to its source. Did plenty of that back when the Braves were getting started, believe me. Commander wanted assurances that we weren't taking gil from wrong sort of benefactors. Of course, these days money flows like water, and the first and third get the shiniest new toys. Forgive me, friend. I have a lot on my mind these days, and I appreciate you lending an ear. Right then, let's get back to it. Celebrian, can you hear me? This is Tataru. Your presence is urgently requested at the Rising Stones. Please come and see me as soon as you are able. Well, if it's Tataru who's phoning you, or, well, telepathy, phoning, I don't know what you would, how would you describe that? Anyway, you know it's trouble. Because it's Tataru. And if it's not, well... Tataru. Thank you for coming so quickly, Celebrian. We have a guest from Ishgard who wishes to speak with you, most, determined lady by all indications. Okay. Tataru seems eager to escort you to the solar. Our guest is with the antecedent in the solar at present. Let's not keep them waiting any longer, shall we? Who could it be? Ah, Lucia. Mariange. Unexpected tidings from the north, borne by the Lord Commander II. What manner of wind bloweth this day? Moenbryda. At this point it would be more unnerving if he spoke plainly. Indeed. Tataru, this is no time for idle chatter. Too late. Lucia, good of you to join us. We have much to discuss. Minfilia.
We have a guest from Ishgard who wishes to speak with you. I believe the two of you have met.
We have. I had hoped to speak with Commander Leveilleur as well, but I cannot afford to wait any longer. The Lord Commander sent me hither to request your aid in a matter of grave import.
You see now why I had Tataru summon you.
Now that we're all assembled, perhaps you would be good enough to elaborate on the nature of the matter which brought you to us.
The Observatorium's astrologians have sounded the alarm. Last night, the Dragonstar burned with an intensity not seen in 15 summers, not since the Dravanians engaged the Empire in the Battle of Silver-Tier Skies.
The northern sky doth burn full bright upon the Wormlord's call. The red behemoth beckoneth, and flame consumeth all.
The old Curthan rhyme, aye. The brightening of the Dragonstar is said to accompany the roar of a great worm. The astrologians believe that it was Midgardsormr himself who cried out on this occasion.
After an absence of centuries, the King of Kings did return to lead his kind against the might of Garlemald, only to fall in his duel with the Agrius, proud flagship of the Garlean fleet. Devoid of life, his corpse remaineth entwined about the Magitech monstrosity even unto this day.
Ariange has the right of it. Whatever this alteration in the Dragonstar portends, the Great Worm has shown no sign of life. Tataru, have the Domans reported aught out of the ordinary?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if Midgardsormr had roared, wouldn't we have heard it here in Revenant's Toll?
Roar is but a figure of speech. Dravanians can communicate in ways beyond our ken. It is for this very reason that we are forced to look for signs in the heavens. We cannot say with any confidence that a great worm roared at all, much less that it was Midgardsormr. Only by directly examining the Keeper of the Lake can we be certain. However, it will take too long to gain the Holy See's approval to dispatch the Temple Knights. Therefore, Sir Emric would entrust this task to you. Do you accept?
I guess so.
We knew you would not disappoint us. Now, if you would excuse me, I must return and assist the Lord Commander. We have precious little time to prepare.
To prepare for what, pray tell?
When a great worm roars, his brethren cannot choose but answer. We prepare for battle.
Dun dun dun. Forgive me if I state aught which you already know, but I would ensure that you understand the nature of your destination. As Ariange stated, what we now call the Keeper of the Lake is the wreckage of the Agrius, former flagship of the Imperial fleet, and the corpse of the worm responsible for its destruction. 15 years ago, as the next step in his campaign to subjugate Eorzea, Gaius van Baelsar attempted to seize control of Mordona. So massive was his force that all thought his victory a foregone conclusion. But an unlikely ally came to Eorzea's aid that day. Midgardsormr, legendary guardian of Silver-Tier's Falls, burst forth from beneath the waters of the lake and led a host of dragons against the Garlean airships overhead. In what would later become known as the Battle of Silver-Tier Skies, the Great Worm felled countless airships before engaging the Agrius. In the ensuing struggle, the flagship's Cerulean engines failed, and it tumbled into the lake below. Yet this victory came at a great cost, for the explosion which followed claimed the life of the Great Worm as well. That same explosion transformed Silver Falls into the desolate wastelands it is today, draining the lake of its waters and crystallizing aether from malms around. Yet a remnant of that lake remains, and at its center a constant reminder of that fateful day long ago. In accordance with Sir Emmeric's wishes, our Doman allies have been standing watch over the keeper of the lake. It would be wise to speak with them before investigating the wreckage yourself. Be careful, my friend. We know not what dangers await you with it. Now then, let us not neglect our own tasks. There is much to be done, and precious little time to do it. Minfilia. Midgardsormr was once worshipped as the guardian deity of Silver Tear Falls, yet there he has lain for 15 years. Lucia. Before I depart, I must needs speak with the antecedent in private, if you would be so kind. And I guess we need to speak with the Doman Watch in Mordona. Sataru. Oh gods, if that charred monstrosity actually returned to life, I don't know what I would do. Could do? Would do. Would do. And everybody else looks like they're in the same position, so they're probably saying the same thing, so we'll just head on out and talk to the Doman Watch. Who is apparently way down there. So, if we take a look over there, we can see the wreckage. And I presume that scaling around is part of the body. And obviously those are the wings. I guess that's the head. Anyhow, Doman Watch. You're in luck, miss. I was about to send word to Revenant's Toll about the Garleans. Of late, I've seen small airships, likely from Castrum Sentry, come and go from the Keeper of the Lake. Though I cannot say for certain at this distance, I believe they may be salvaging something from within the wreckage. The Castrum supply lines have been cut for some time, and I'd wager they're desperate in need of spare parts and other equipment. So it's true then. The Ishgardians honestly fear the worm might rise again? Well, from here that seems rather unlikely, but if its assurances they want, you have no choice but to inspect the corpse in its entirety. Easier said than done, given the creature which inhabited the wreckage and the aforementioned Garleans who won't take kindly to your presence. They're sure to fire upon an airship, so I'd advise a more stealthy approach. Take this boat and a few of your comrades to the base of the Agrius, then climb to the top. That's the only viable approach, I'd say. The Keeper of the Lake. Now accessible.
Who treadeth now upon my bones, and waketh me from slumber sweet? Thou hast forgotten the face of thy Lord. Remember, mortal, and fear me. Buy her gifts, hast thou earned a moment's reprieve. Speak, mortal, and I shall listen. Guided by a star. My people have heard the song. Ishgard shall burn. Sons must answer for their father's misdeeds. We do not forget. We do not forgive. 7 children did I sire. One now singeth of retribution. I rise to join in the chorus. Thou art powerless to silence us, mortal. Yet thou shalt not live to labor in vain. Thy reprieve is at an end. Trickery is thy shield. This frail, ignoble creature is not gifted, but chosen. Hearken to me, Hydaelyn. I remember, and I consent. Fear not, mortal. I shall not harm thee. Mayhap thou thinkest me an oath breaker. Thou art mistaken. If thou comest to harm, it shall be by another's hand, not mine. I did but strip thee of thy mistress's feeble blessing. Thou didst profit much by her grace, but no more.
It's a baby dragon.
The covenant binds me to thee. I shall watch, listen, and wait. Fight and struggle, if it be thy will. Man hath ever coveted that which lieth beyond his grasp. I drink of her body, and thence doth mine own find new life. When it hath grown whole, the loyal and penitent shall rejoice. The dragon song heraldeth a beginning and an end.
You may summon Midgardsormr by selecting the corresponding entry within your minion guide under Character in the main menu. And so we're going to do that. Look at that. Now we have a little dragon. Eventually he gets tired of flying around too. He'll sit on your shoulder. And if you're a Lalafell, he'll sit on your head. So we need to speak with the Domin Watch. I was beginning to fear the worst. Were those explosions I saw? But you shouldn't waste time talking with me. Elfinel left a message stating that you were to return to the Rising Stones at once. And I see a bunch of people. Dataru. 12 save me, is it coming? What should we do? Oh, he's not? Haven. The Lady Knight from Ishgard cuts quite a gallant figure, doesn't she? Giri. Considering the sudden arrival of foreign envoys and the like, preparing suitable meals at the Rising Stones can prove to be an interesting challenge. Ishtola. Though it may seem tedious when compared with smiting of terrible foes, poring over crumbling scrolls is one of the Scions' most important duties. Without the illumination of knowledge, we but vainly flail at spectators in the dark. Papalamo. We were able to locate those elusive manuscripts in the archives of the Thaumaturge's Guild. I had not spoken much with the new guildmasters, but thankfully they were quite willing to accommodate us in our search. Ingrid. In hindsight, mayhap sending a lady in my stead was not the wisest of decisions. Pray ignore my ramblings. Nita. I traveled to Ul'dah to meet with Ingrid's friend, the one who promised us that rare ore. She began cursing me with words I've only ever heard from the mouths of pirates. I still have no idea why she was so angry about. That's okay, Ida. I must confess, the relationship between the crystal formations and the destruction of the Ascians quite escapes me. Fortinet. Professor Lambertin has published a thorough study on corrupted crystals and their properties. I highly recommend you procure yourself a copy of his work. Moenbryda. I'm pushing ahead with my research as quickly as I dare. The next time you face an Ascian, I would have you fight with a proper weapon in hand. And Lucia. Have you spoken with the commander Louvier yet? He has been pacing again. Yep, because, because I'm his favorite warrior. I don't know. Riol. Truth interpreted is truth transformed. Today's heroes may yet become tomorrow's gods, or something else. Infilia. Welcome home, Celebrian. Elfino was worried sick about you. Why don't you go and set his mind at ease? Elfino. Praise the 12 that you're hale and whole. I came as soon as Minfilia informed me of Sir Amric's request. You have completed your investigation of the Keeper of the Lake, I take it? I want to hear your report. You conversed with Midgardsormr? I swear, were anyone else to make such a claim, I would regard it with considerable skepticism. Are we to understand that the Worm Lord did not perish and has in sooth lain dormant these past 15 years? Less a resurrection and more a rejuvenation for he who dwelleth in eternity, years passing as moments. Though his words were ambiguous at times, one statement left little room for interpretation. My people have heard the song, Ishgard shall burn. Clearly an attack is imminent. We must share this information with Sir Emmerich immediately. However, we dare not divulge your conversation with Midgardsormr in its entirety. To even acknowledge that you heard the voice of a Dravanian is a grave but necessary risk. Lest we forget, men have been executed as heretics for declaring as much. For your own protection and for the sake of your tenuous relations with Ishgard, the truth cannot leave this room. As for how we shall present our revelation to Sir Amric's emissary, you may leave that to me. Pray remain here for now. Yes, sir. Is there something you're not telling us, Celebrian? You seem different somehow. 'Tis almost as if you are missing something. Something important. 12 for fed. Midgardsormr stripped you of the blessing of light? Are you all right? How do you feel? The same, sort of? I see. It is relieved that you were otherwise unharmed. It beggars belief that any being could possess the power to deprive you of your blessing. Midgardsormr made mention of a covenant, did he not? One of the ancient myths regarding Silvertear Falls states that when the waters came into existence, so too did the Great Worm. Althik and Nimia, brother Team and sister Fate, decreed that Midgardsormr even ever watched over the source, from which all water and magic was said to flow. I wonder, what if this was the covenant of which he spoke, and 'twas not the gods with whom he treated, but Heidelin herself? Well, if he is watching over you as he claimed, mayhap you will have an opportunity to ask. Let us keep this matter to ourselves. I do not wish to burden our friends needlessly. Art thou a pawn, or master of thy fate? What hast thou wrought by thine own hands, mortal? I don't know, random figure dragon thingy that goes poof. But it is indeed a good question. Look at that, the doors opened on themselves.
My friend, I can scarce believe it. You confronted the Worm Lord and lived to tell the tale. I give thanks to Halone for your preservation. It is our sole cause for gladness. Your encounter with the Keeper of the Lake served to confirm our fears. A great worm has roared, and it makes little difference if it was one of the two in Eorzea or any other. The Dravanians are coming.
I am told that Ishgard has magical defenses against Dravanian attack, though I am not privy to their exact nature. Will they be enough to repel a massive force?
Ishgard has weathered countless assaults over centuries. This will be no different. And now that you have confirmed the threat, none can ignore the Lord Commander's calls for the wards to be strengthened. I dare not presume to speak for him, but I expect the Lord Commander would sing your praises. I must away, but we shall meet again soon.
Countless assaults weathered, and this will be no different? Why am I not convinced?
You and me both. Tataru. Thank you, Slebrin, thank you. I shall sleep soundly knowing that the worm will trouble us no longer. Salmon. Yep, they're all going to say the same thing. Elfino. The Ishgardians have warred with the Dravanians for centuries, nay, nearly 1,000 years. In all that time, not once have their enemies breached their defenses and entered the city proper. Yet, regardless of how strong these magic wards may be, I nevertheless fear that the Ishgardians are underestimating the gravity of the situation. Though it was not Midgardsormr who roared, a call to arms by one of the First Brood cannot be ignored. Until such time as they choose to request our aid, however, we can do naught but observe the situation at a distance, and pray that our fears are unfounded. Elfino. Elfino has a message from Moenbryda for the Scions. Ere I forget, I believe Moenbryda has requested a gathering of the Scions. I assume there has been some progress concerning our efforts to combat the Ascians. Pray inform her that her business with the Ishgardians is concluded. For the moment, I shall be along once I have completed my communications with the Crystal Braves. Moenbryda. All done with your talk of dragons. Wonderful, because Ascians are next on the menu. Let's head into the solar, shall we? Of all our adversaries, the Ascians could well be considered the most dangerous. I do hope Moenbryda's research has borne fruit. Entrance to the solar. Philia. I've summoned everyone to the solar. It would seem Moenbryda has something exciting to share with us. Moenbryda.
Now that everything's calmed down a bit, relatively speaking I mean, I thought it might be a good time to share our progress on the weapon. I believe we're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Well, don't keep us all in suspense.
Just in case anyone's forgotten, let's start by reviewing what we already know. So, an Ascian is an immortal because its soul doesn't return to the ethereal realm when its host is defeated. Instead, it flees to the place that lies between our world and the void. Therefore, the first step to permanently defeating an Ascian is preventing its soul from making this journey. And if you recall, when we last gathered here, I had verified that white auracite has adequate capacity to entrap the beings, albeit only briefly.
Which left the small matter of their extermination.
Aye. To unmake an Ascian soul, one must needs smite it with a concentrated burst, or blade, of purest ether. However, we wanted for both the data and the means to forge such a weapon.
Short of experimenting on an actual Ascian, you see, there's no way to gauge how much ether its soul is made of. As such, we don't know what etheric density our blade needs to have in order for it to work.
So we'll just have to make the densest blade we can and hope for the best. Though that would require a lot of ether. Hang on a minute. Why didn't we think of this before? White auracite can hold an absolute heap of ether, can't it?
Please tell me you're joking. God's sakes, Ida. I feel as though I'm reliving the same scene over and over with you. How many times do you need to be told that white auracite cannot store ether for long periods? Being intangible matter, ether is given to dispersion. Only in its crystallized form is it a stable source of energy. I will test you later on this, so see to it you do not forget.
Right, yes. It's all coming back to me.
So our hopes rest on good old crystals again, do they? While they are certainly reliable, they leave something to be desired in the area of portability.
Indeed. I am reminded of the quantity of corrupted crystals required to thwart Leviathan, and the extraordinary lengths to which the Lamentsons went to transport them. What if it should prove that a similar quantity was needed to destroy an Ascian's soul? Or still more?
I do not envy the poor sod who has to lug all of that around, on the off chance that an Ascian appears.
That's the very problem we set out to solve. And I reckon we've found the answer. If it isn't practical to lug around the ether we need, we'll just have to draw upon another source. And the only viable source is the land.
If you mean to tap the Great River of Ether, know that it will entail considerable risk. Meddling with the currents may well induce a surge like to the one which despoiled Moenbryda.
Give me a bit more credit, will you? Why would we need to tap the river when there are veritable reservoirs jutting out all over the land? I speak of corrupted crystals. It might be that their aspect is out of balance, but a crystal's a crystal. It contains ether, and we can help ourselves to it.
While corrupted crystals are indeed abundant, there is no guarantee that they will be in close proximity at a crucial moment.
But what if we don't need them to be? What if we could tap their power from afar? A malm away, say? If we could do that, we'd have ready access to ether aplenty in almost every corner of Eorzea. I've yet to put my theories to the proof, but I've got a good feeling about this. If no one has any objections, I'd like to see where this avenue leads.
If you think it worth your while, you have my blessing. But tell us, what are your theories? I, for one, am most eager to understand the process, however vaguely.
I thought you might say that, but no one wants to listen to boring old theories all day, do they? I know I don't. So with your permission, I'd like to try something a bit more hands-on. I've already built an etheric siphon especially for this purpose, and I've been meaning to try it out. Thing is, the profusion of corrupted crystals in Moenbryda makes it something of a high-risk testing ground. If anything goes awry with the siphon, it would be better if it didn't happen within spitting distance of quite so much ether. Ideally, I need an isolated specimen. Does anyone know where I can find one?
May I suggest northern Thanalan? There you will find corrupted crystals of middling size, standing a reasonable distance apart. Ideal for your needs, I should have thought. Oh, and if you do elect to visit the place, I should be much obliged if you would assist me in another matter while you are in the area.
Has something happened?
Movement has been observed at Castrum Meridianum. During Operation Archon, the Alliance dealt the stronghold a heavy blow. Its facilities were extensively damaged, and its garrison reduced to a fraction of its former strength. Not long after our forces withdrew, however, their ranks were replenished by reinforcements from Castrum's sentry. They now seek to rebuild, and to this end they have their sights set upon the ceruleum processing plant. Having lost the Empire's support, the 14th Legion lacks the resources to sustain itself. To them, this is a bid for survival, and they will doubtless fight like desperate men. Though I have dispatched the Crystal Braves, I fear their strength alone may not suffice to stay the Imperial assault. I would request the Scions' aid in the defensive effort.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to inveigle us into fighting your battle with the promise of shiny crystals. Well then, consider me inveigled. I won't lie, the crystals you speak of sound perfect, so the Garleans have to go. Besides, we can't afford to beat about the bush. There's no telling when the Ascians will next appear.
Thine eagerness to hurl thyself into the jaws of danger cometh as little surprise. Exercise due caution, I prithee.
Though you have become a Crystal Brave, you are yet a Scion, Alphino. We could hardly refuse you. Pray, join the Crystal Braves and lend them your support. Thangred and Papalymo shall accompany you. Ida and Y'shtola, in the meantime I would have you assist Moenbryda. Scout out the crystal clusters, that the testing may commence as soon as the Garlean threat has been eliminated.
If it please you, I shall continue mine own experiments on white auracite.
Thank you, Arianger. Everyone, pray see to your preparations and depart as soon as you are able. Go well, and be safe.
Philia, though I have little doubt you will prevail against the Empire's forces, I shall pray for your success nonetheless. Our very future may depend upon Moenbryda being free to pursue her experiments. And apparently we need to speak with Alphino. And everybody else is standing in other places. Hey Gary, we do seem to be running low on provisions. I believe an excursion to the marketplace is in order. Hataru. For a small organization, we certainly chew through a prodigious amount of foodstuffs. Perhaps I should put a lock on the larder door. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Diamond. I see the Scions once more ready themselves for the road. I too must make preparations for an absence from the Rising Stones. Coltonet. Ari was most eager to join you on the front lines of battle, but as fate would have it, the antecedent had other plans for our talents. Ari Boulder. It seems you have barely arrived before you must once more plunge into the fray. Duty is an unforgiving mistress, eh? Though the tasks we tackle are not like to be as realm-shaking, Coltonet and I also must also heed her call. And I think that's everybody. Everybody else must be in whichever other place. Alphino. 'Twould seem that the events have once more conspired to rob us of rest and recuperation. Though I would wish it otherwise. I must ask that you head straight away to the processing plant. The Fourth have already deployed to the area and await the arrival of the Scions. Wilred will brief you on the developing situation. Meanwhile, I must rendezvous with Captain Ilberd at our headquarters in Ul'dah. I shall take command of our forces there with a lighter heart, knowing that you go to support the front lines. Your duties take you to North Thalalan, do they not? We too must say our farewells to the Rising Stones for a time. Fliamin travels to Ul'dah, and we shall serve as her escort. At my daughter's behest, I go to contact certain old acquaintances in the Gilded City. We are beset on all sides by civil unrest and imperial machinations, threatened by primals and troubled by dragons. We need all the allies we can muster. Many of my friends hold positions of power, you see, and it is my hope that they can be convinced to aid the Scions' cause. If past events have taught us anything, then we know that Eorzea must present a united front, or we shall fall. Oh, how extraordinary that my little Ascilia is involved in such far-reaching affairs. I am proud that I might now stand at her side not only as a mother, but also as a colleague. a colleague with influential connections, but I fear that Ul'dah has become a place of danger even for one so familiar with her streets. Bah! What betide the blackguard that so much as glares in your direction, milady? I shall be well protected, it seems. Shall we be on our way, then? And so we need to head to the processing plant. Ah, there's Wildred. Or Wilbred. Wilbred. Commander Louvier sent word that you would be coming. A veteran of your talents is most welcome. Not that I don't think we can handle the situation, mind you. I've learned a trick or two since the disaster with Moenbryda. But returning to the task at hand. The Flames' reconnaissance scouts have reported Imperial soldiers assembling at Raban's push. Such a force is likely interested in only one thing, getting their hands on the resources found here at the processing plant. The Garleans could begin marching on us at any time. I think it's time we speak with Lieutenant Edelstein to finalize our counter-strategy. Lieutenant Saragon, my soldiers yet tell tales of your deeds during Operation Archon. Would that we could sit a while and reminisce about old times. Are the Garleans on the move, then? Not as such. The civilian draughtsmen have, however, come across several highly suspicious crates within the boundaries of the processing plant. I had my sappers take a closer look, and our worst fears were confirmed. These boxes contain powerful explosive devices of Imperial design no less. Found inside the plant, you say? But how? We've had guards stationed around the perimeter day and night. 'Tis likely the plant was infiltrated long before the Braves arrived. Master Thancred, have the Scions come in force then? Well, who could have been spared, yes. Now there are little likely more of these Imperial explosives about the place, so I suggest we spread out and conduct a thorough sweep of the compound. Considering the volatile nature of ceruleum, allowing even one such device to escape our search may lead to us enjoying an uncomfortably close view of a rather spectacular explosion. Gulp. Right then, I'll pass the word on to the fourth. What exactly should we do with these crates should we find them? Bring them here to me. Carefully, mind you. My sappers will render the devices harmless, as it did with the first batch we found. Very well. Let's get started, shall we? And I guess we're on the hunt for finding some bomb-ish things that are around. And if I do recall, there are... well, there's 4 of them, as that says. If I do recall... I know one is way up there. Oh, I see Y'shtola, so let's see if we can go up there. Nope. And she still won't take the coin. Merchant Amender. Well, I see Wilbred and Y'shtola. Might as well go up here as well and see if we can spot anything. Wilbred. Just the other day for the Brave. Just another day for the Braves. Guarding the front lines, keeping an eye on the Garleans, tracking down potential lethal explosive devices. All in a day's work, right? Y'shtola. Thancred told me of the explosives. Let's secure the plant and swiftly that we might proceed with our original agenda. So... don't see any over there. I do see Yida there, and Thancred down there, and a shiny one over there. But there's also one up there somewhere. Oh, over there. And we have to get up over there. And that one took me a long time to find. Oh, was there? No, just the one. And Papalamo. I wonder if these devices could be effectively disabled through the focused application of ice aspect magics. Who knows? Inconspicuously suspicious item. So that's one. And you actually can go up here. And it's over this way. And if we're lucky, we can spot the other ones that we need to spot. Conspicuously suspicious item. There's another one over there. And just one more to find. Well, since we're up here, we might as well look on the other side to make sure there isn't one. And I believe that's as far as we can go. What does Thancred have to say? Thancred. I found only one suspicious container thus far, and it contained naught but the remains of some hurried worker's midday repast. Lovely. Healing. Maybe. How goes the search? I've not had much luck myself. It's funny how everybody else has either found one or nothing, and I've already found two. Well, three if you count the one that's over there. Yida. I'm having a contest with Papalamo to see who can find the most explosives. I may have forgotten to mention it to him before I started looking. Oh, Yida, Yida, Yida. Inconspicuously suspicious item. Number 3. Now there is one more somewhere. I'm guessing it's somewhere over here because we have not yet found it. Moenbryda. I've done some exploring and located the perfect place where I might conduct my experiment. A pity then that we must deal with all this Garlean nonsense before I can begin testing my theories. Indeedly-do. Is it in here? Nope. Aha! It is over there, but how do I get there? Inconspicuously suspicious item. And so now we need to speak with Edelstein over here. Edelstein. Should you discover any containers that appear out of place, then hand them over to me. My sappers will determine whether or not these objects are explosives, and then disarm them should they prove to be so. Inconspicuously a suspicious item, suspected to supposedly contain something like explosives. There were 4 more of these blasted things? I'll have our engineers disassemble them at once. Fine work as always, Lieutenant Saragon. The entire compound has now been scoured from top to bottom, so I should hope that's the last we've seen of these explosives. Our troubles with Castor Meridianum, however, are far from over. Scouts have returned with news of movement on the front. But we're going to hear what the scouts have to say in the next video. So, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.